pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first item on the agenda, awards and proclamation. And it's my privilege to present with Sergeant Devin Greatwater. If you please come forward.
10 years, so you start.
On behalf of the city of Devils Lake, I present you a 10-year certificate. I hope you don't mind this bike thing. But I present you a certificate of appreciation for your service to the community and appreciate what you've done. I'll shake your young son's hand too, because you support him a lot in that job and always want him to come home safe, right? So congratulations, I appreciate what you've done.
Thank you. Can I give one with the?
Oh, sure. There you go.
Here. Okay, and then can I give one with you?
Oh, absolutely.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm taking a video.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, here, I thought it was a picture.
Wait, he blinked. Do it again.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Devin.
Thanks, Devin.
Thanks for your
Take
service.
care. Yeah, thank you, Devin.
Thank you, sir.
We'll let you guys get back.
Get one more.
Oh, no, that wasn't the first
Hey.
thing on here. Okay.
It's the Bears. Trying to support the action program.
You ready, Steven? Go, Johnny.
All right, we'll see you.
Okay, now approval of the minutes for December 2nd, 2024.
Make a motion to approve the minutes,
Commissioner Pierce,
December 2nd, 2024.
second Commissioner Eulenkamp. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. No public, nothing under public hearing, nothing under bid opening. Nothing, no visitors or delegations. Oh boy, we're moving right along. We'll now be into commissioner portfolios and Commissioner Pierce.
Chief, what do you got?
Well, we're, like normal, we're deep into the fishing derby, like always.
Plenty of ice.
Yeah, well, we're gonna start monitoring that right after Christmas, so hopefully with this cold snap, we'll get a little
Yeah.
bit, but it's supposed to warm up, Eric said,
Next week.
coming soon, so.
Mm.
Yeah, we're gonna keep an eye on it right after Christmas and keep monitoring until January, but. We're gonna be doing the bringing Santa around town thing again. If people keep their eye on the Facebook page, there'll be a link on there where they can track Santa, see where he's at within his route. And then for as far as the ARF stuff, the training forms have been submitted to the airport manager. We're just waiting to get approval on those. So
We have our LEC meeting this Wednesday, and I just wanted to commend our local law enforcement, PD, Sheriff's Department, Highway Patrol, and even local surrounding law enforcement officers that took part in the Shop with a Cop this year. I was at Walmart. When they showed up, a lot of people were running because they saw like 14 cop cars come in at one time. And I told them this is the safest place you could be right now. So, but no, the kids, I saw them all. Kids were just excited. And even our fire department was part of it as well. So great job to all. And thank you for taking part.
That's awesome.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you. Commissioner Eulenkamp.
Mr. Grafsgaard.
Nothing for streets tonight unless you have questions. We'll wait and see what our local radio guy has been updating me on forecasts. He usually keeps me abreast of what's happening there. So we'll see what transpires later on this
I
week.
didn't like the news. I heard him say it here earlier. 5 inches?
It'll all be melted by Christmas anyway.
Okay. We're gonna hold you to that.
gonna get that warm?
Okay.
We are taking possession of a new snowplow that was ordered a year ago. That'll be delivered this week.
A plow,
Will
a
be put
bigger one for a truck, dump truck, or?
for a loader. So we have one loader that we ended up keeping, our case loader. And so it'll be one more tool in the toolbox to help with the corridors and things like that.
It? Okay. All right. Commissioner Hatch.
Mike, anything from sanitation?
Nothing with sanitation tonight. I think we were updated a little bit via email on what's happening and transpiring with some of the things in the department. I'm working on putting the specs together for the automated truck. I'll be working on that. I submitted a packet of information provided by the city attorney, packet of information that was provided by the city administrator. That all went to USDA. And I'll be working on the specs that we turned over to USDA as well. Once we have their full approval, we'll be working on a public input meeting, going down that process. But that'll be a little bit down the road once we get the approvals.
Okay.
So
Any-
for sanitation, with engineering, there's a lot of projects that are on the agenda for tonight.
Okay. Rob?
Tax statements have been out, so most people have started to receive those. If there's any questions that they have on them, people are more than happy to answer those questions, anyone may have. Just note that those who did apply for the primary residence property tax credit, that it is handwritten on those tax statements. And so you'll just have to see where it's deducted off your total handwritten on those statements. There was an issue with the tax software at the county that resulted in those not being reflected on there. The primary residence property tax application period for next year is open. It's an online application. If you did it last year, it's basically putting the first 4 letters of your last name and your house number in, and then matching it up with your application from last year, and that's all that'll take. But if anyone has any questions or needs help with that, they can also swing in. And I'll also be doing a coffee time with Eric about that later on this week. And then we'll be sending out homestead property tax credit applications will be coming out at the end of the year. So those who apply for that each year can expect to see those right around the first of the year.
Is the limit the same or did that go up any or?
So it's still 500 as of right now.
No, the homestead
The
credit.
homestead, that's still, you have to be 65 or older, totally and permanently disabled, and your net income less out-of-pocket medical expenses has to be under $70,000.
So
to
the
qualify.
same as last year.
Yeah. And I don't anticipate there'll be much for change on that in the legislative session coming up, but I think the primary residence will change at some point during the next session.
I hope they got a message.
Right.
Sure.
Perfect.
That's it.
That's it. Commissioner Kanowski.
Mike, anything for water department?
Yes, Commissioner, I know your interest in water treatment and the process that we use for water treatment. We're working on the water filters that are up there. This week, we have somebody coming in. We're looking at doing an analysis of those filter beds. We're going to regen them and then core them, make sure that they're still meeting the standards. We still have water quality is good. Everything is good. We just want to make sure that everything is, we're providing the best water quality that we can through that water plant. With the additional sales that we're doing through Northeast Regional Water District as well as Greater Ramsey Water District, there's a lot more water going through that plant right now than what we had envisioned if we weren't bringing on an industrial user. So, that work will be occurring this Wednesday, Thursday. If you have any interest, we could meet up then. I could run you through what's going on.
I do have a question though in regards to that. So during that time frame on Wednesday and Thursday, does the taste or anything change in the water? Are people going to notice any of that?
No, people won't. So what we'll do is we'll make sure that all of our storage, the water tower is full, the reservoir is full, the water filters be offline, and we'll go through this process. Once they're taken offline and they're regen, we'll be doing a backwash, and then we'll run water through those filters after the backwash to make sure that everything is good before we even put it back online. It's just a process of regenerating that filter media that we use. So there should be no change in the water quality for any of that.
Thank you.
That's all I have, Commissioner. Unless you have
That's happening
questions.
when? When is that happening?
Right now, depending upon the weather, Wednesday and Thursday this week.
That's all I have, sir.
Okay, thank you. Chief.
Mayor, we have a Gerald Hoger's graduation from the Law Enforcement Training Academy in Bismarck this Friday. So we're going to have a group of us going down in the city van.
Okay.
My first experience in the city van, so I heard it's pretty nice. And then we have Officer Dallas, SRO Dallas, and Sergeant Samantha Rodriguez currently are at an interview and interrogation class in West Fargo, and that lasts through Thursday. So that's about all I got for you, unless you have questions.
No, thank you. Spencer.
Well, first, I would highly encourage, if it's going to be inclement weather, that the police chief take an Explorer and not the van.
No, his first experience needs to be a lasting one.
I think I recall us almost going backwards trying to recognize.
No, I think he needs to do this.
Is it a Grand Caravan or a Caravan?
You'll find out.
Okay.
It's a grand old one.
It's got new tires,
It's
thank you.
grand.
It's grand, all right. It's almost a grandfather. No, you need that experience, then you'll appreciate what you got.
I appreciate it. In all seriousness, Prairie Dog Bucket, the first bucket filled, and we did receive $2.5 million from the state of North Dakota, as expected. And then the second bucket, if all things being equal, going at the current rates and incomes that the state's seeing from their dashboard, that second bucket should fill, and we'd anticipate to receive another additional 1.1 on top of that in Q1 of 2025. Mike, Devin, and I met briefly in the back, talked about the City Hall renovation, remodel, expansion, however we want to phrase it. And asked that the commission be okay, comfortable. We're going to request that Commissioner Hash as the engineering commissioner and then the mayor serve on a City Hall renovation steering group so that we can, kind of have a group with Mike, Devin, myself, and those two kind of define the scope, define the process, and then bring recommendations to you guys as a collective group for your vetting and approval. We want to have that commission involvement on the granular level, so that those recommendations come with some sort of commission input to you guys.
On that same note, I'd like to add a little thing so for consideration too, and get your opinions on it is, we're talking about maybe a $500,000 remodel of just the existing building, or we do own this property next door that with the potential of expanding to an addition to build something to a commission chambers and additional offices. As you know, when we walk in this building now, it's quite cramped and everybody's kind of congested into one room. What's the future of our city offices going to be like? We're going to be here I anticipate for another 30 plus years, real easy. Downtown location's ideal. I just like to consider possibly maybe working out of chambers that maybe could be utilized with the county, the park board, the high school, where you have a decent meeting, commission chambers that everybody can utilize with all the technology that's available, so that when then large enough to handle, a fairly large crowd, depending on what the issues are. But it's just something that, I know it's a large cost, but $500,000 is a large investment too. Is it worth making a larger investment than having something that's longer term without having to touch it again? So just some thoughts and considerations for you guys to look at. That was my opinion, but I really think that we've been working and renovating this for many years, and at some point, when it's enough renovation, if you're going to do it all in one, and then have what you really are looking to have. And I know and maybe it's something that we have to finance over a long-term period, but give it some serious consideration. Any thoughts from you guys?
As long as your position isn't elevated above everybody else, we're good.
I should be down lower, and you guys higher, right? No,
I agree.
I'm not.
I agree with you. Long term is the best, if we can.
I know it's going to cost a lot of money, but it's something we should look at least have an option 1, option 2, maybe 3 or something. Maybe it's not something we want to do, but at least have an opportunity if we're going to do it. It's never going to get cheaper. That's for sure. So anyway, that's my input on that.
And I would just let the commissioner know, the ultimate goal here is to get to action on something, right? And just talking to you before the meeting, we want to try to avoid some analysis paralysis, where I think over the last maybe 15 years, we've had ideas to do something here, and we've got some plans, and they ended up in a drawer, and we've earmarked the money for it, and to try and move forward on something, whether that is some sort of an expansion or if it's just a renovation of the current, new lighting, carpet, paint, all that sort of stuff, and furniture, audio visual for the commission chambers and whatnot. So again, had a brief meeting. Going to have that steering group get together probably on the other side of Christmas, and hopefully start bringing you guys something full consideration moving forward. If you guys want to further talk about that, we can. Otherwise, I got one more thing.
Any questions on anything yet? Just give it some thoughts and bring back feedback to us.
And then the other, just to give you an update, we did have Mike, Corey and I, we did have a conversation with Lake Region Corporation last week regarding the recycling program. And, you know, as was going into the meeting, Jeff knew that the current supervisor for the recycling program, you know, he's probably going to reach retirement age soon. And would be really hard to replace, and given that the truck's useful life is very near its end, right? 30 years. Kind of recognized the immense effort that it would to find resources and the necessary leadership to continue that. And, you know, he acknowledged that the route is currently getting shorter and quicker, given just fewer number of households that are utilizing our recycling service. And so he was entirely acceptable to, you know, a potential future partnership that encompassed just exclusively the cardboard at a drop-off site. And, you know, an eventual termination of the curbside recycling. He understood what the circumstances that the city's facing. And so, you know, it'd be a lot of change. It'd be something that we would have to do in tandem with going towards the automated system, getting the new cans. Because, you know, with the current 32-gallon structure, right, if the change was made and we did eliminate the curbside recycling program, then if you had a 32-gallon and you were recycling, you need to get another can, and we want to avoid that happening. And certainly it'll be a policy decision, but we did have that initial conversation with Lake Region Corp. Mayor Rob tried to keep you guys informed as to what we were doing and the conversation that we had. And so we do intend on reconnecting with Jeff in March once we have a clear idea of when the automated truck would be able to get up and running. We'll have a clearer picture whether or not that's holding off until 2026 or it's, you know, fall of 2025. We'll have to see. Mike, you were in that meeting. Is there anything else I should add to that?
I think you covered where we're at with it. I mean, there's all the balls are up in the air at this point, but we're having those conversations.
They seem to understand and acceptable to, you know, a difference in service offering. So,
Perfect.
and he's already sent me quotes as to what just exclusively baling cardboard would be, and those sorts of things. Kind of just an idea. So.
Okay, perfect. Jason.
I've been attending to the usual day-to-day responsibilities, but otherwise nothing specific to report.
Okay, thank you. Okay, one item I have is maybe give the public an update on the hospital. As of now, things are still progressing. We're kind of waiting for the Vatican to approve the sale as a technicality that needs to go through before everything will happen. So February 1st was the target date, and it's still at that date at this point. So things are, you know, I know everybody's excited to see something happen there, but the first phase of the emergency room is complete, and the second phase won't begin until the transaction takes place with the new owners. And then that will start. And I think
Is there clinic that's in the Holiday Mall? Is that going to be all true as well? or
at
what's
this
gonna
point, I
happen with
cannot,
that?
I would guess that would be closing, but I don't, that was never part of our discussion. It's just an assumption that
Yeah.
if CHI goes away, that their clinic probably is, but we've never had that discussion, so I can't say. But no, things are progressing, and I know people are interested, and I've had people ask when that's going to happen. So it's just for the public's knowledge, February 1st is still the date, and I don't believe it's going to change at this point. They opened up their new hospital in Grand Forks on the 19th for the first patient. And so they were kind of actually happy that it's working this way because it gives them some time in between to get one opened up before they start with the second. So it probably worked out for good reasons. With that, unless anybody's got questions. Okay, we'll move on. Old business, we have nothing for consent agenda. Under new business, item number 1 is approval of a preliminary report and resolution directing preparation of plans for street improvement district number 81-25. Okay. Mike, have you got anything you want to say to that?
I would like to take the opportunity to read each individual report to you. It does appear that we have a couple of people on the commission that are interested in a
And if you
football game
do
tonight?
have, I think you should go line by line, word by word. And if you stumble, you got to start over.
Just to bring the commission up to speed, the reason why we have so many different reports is part of a process for a special assessment district. And we created many different special assessment districts breaking out different areas of town with different work that's occurring. And the idea behind that is to allow residents in a particular area the opportunity to potentially protest a project if they don't want that particular project to proceed. Might be an area of town they want their roadway improved, might be an area of town where they don't want their roadway improved. If we lump it all into one large district, it makes it a lot easier for us, right? We only do one report, we only do one district, one cost estimate. The issue with doing that, it would make it very difficult for one area to protest their area relative to the larger district. That's why you see so many reports in front of you, because each report has to coincide with its own district. Each report outlines the costs associated, the scope of work and the costs associated with that district. And so those numbers are included within the individual reports. The first district is related to the improvement on 14th Avenue and 14th Street, the gravel areas, 14th Street known as the Midco Road, and improving those roadways out to what's commonly known as the Four Corners. So that roadway was recently improved. Now it's structurally sound enough to place asphalt on top. Those two roadways are on our federal aid system. We're able to access some federal funds associated with that. So the preliminary cost estimate for that work is just over $1 million. With that, approximately $770,000 is for construction and $255,000 is for contingencies, admin, legal, and engineering related costs. And of the total cost, we should be receiving about $615,000 in federal aid money for that. Any questions on that particular project? We're hoping to complete that work in 2025. If not, I would recommend approval of the preliminary report and then a resolution directing preparation of plans and specs for that work.
Make the motion to approve the preliminary report and resolution directing preparedness of plans for street improvements for district number 81-25.
Commissioner Pierce, motion.
Second.
Commissioner Hatch, second. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Pierce?
Aye.
Commissioner Kanowski?
Aye.
Commissioner Hatch?
Aye.
Commissioner Eulenkamp?
Aye.
President Moore?
Aye, motion carried. Item number 2, approval of preliminary report and resolution directing preparation of plans, street improvement district number 8225.
This work is associated with roadway work on Jana Place, Lynn Place, and Cherry Place. They're the small dead-end roadways that come off of 14th Street Northeast, if you're familiar with that area. The roadways were last really improved about 25 years ago when the water main in that area was replaced and there was some roadway work done. And so we would be simply completing a project that will mill and overlay the surface of those roadways. Preliminary cost estimate for this work is $82,500. Of that amount, approximately $62,000 is estimated for construction. Just over $20,000 is estimated for contingencies, admin, legal, and engineering related costs. We would cost share 75% city, 25% would be special assessed to the adjoining property owners. If you'd like to see the project proceed, I recommend you approve the preliminary report and order preparation plans and specs.
When's the last time this area was special assessed? Has it been a while?
There would have been a small amount of special assessment when 14th Street Northeast was last worked on, but their last major assessment would have been 25 years ago when the water main was replaced. They were dealing with old infrastructure that was put in place in the early 60s.
Yep.
And those old cast iron mains were replaced and then the roadway improved. Actually, they did a full reconstruction of the roadways in the 1999-2000 timeframe.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve the preliminary engineering report for street improvement district number 8225.
Okay, Commissioner Kanowski, motion.
Second.
Commissioner Eulenkamp, second. Any further discussion? No further discussion, roll call.
Commissioner Pierce?
Aye.
Commissioner Kanowski?
Aye.
Commissioner Hatch?
Aye.
Commissioner Eulenkamp?
Aye.
President Moe?
Aye, motion carries. Item 3, approval of preliminary report and resolution directing preparation of plans, street improvement district number 8325.
This particular district is a larger district and encompasses a lot of miscellaneous roadways and, a block here, a block there kind of thing, kind of tying in a lot of the loose ends where our major roadway projects were completed. And now we have some avenues and roadways that we have to kind of connect the dots, so to speak, to have the area complete. So that's why you see such a large list of various roadways. One of the larger areas is 2nd Street Northeast, where we recently replaced the water main. Now we have to improve the roadway. Preliminary cost estimate for this project is just over $1 million. Of that, about $770,000 is estimated for construction, and about $250,000 estimated for contingency, admin, legal, and engineering related costs. Because the asphalt roadways are currently there, the city would pick up 75% of the costs associated with the project. 25% would be special assessed to adjoining property owners. If you'd like to see the project continue, I would recommend that the commission approve the preliminary report in order preparation of plans and specs for the project.
Were they special assessed for the last go around of stuff that went through?
2nd Street would be special assessed because that was a water main replacement. The city would have cost shared that 75%, special assessed 25%. And we had to get the water main replaced because the roadway was in such poor condition, but we weren't in a position to overlay the road without replacing the infrastructure underneath, because those roadways those water mains were some of the oldest water mains that were still in use, some of the original water mains within the city.
What is it, number 3? I'll make a motion to approve preliminary report and resolution directing preparation of plans and street improvement district number 8325.
Okay, Commissioner Hatch,
I'll second that.
Commissioner Kanowski. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Pierce?
Aye.
Commissioner Kanowski?
Aye.
Commissioner Hatch?
Aye.
Commissioner Eulenkamp?
Aye.
President Moe?
Aye, motion carries. Item 4, approval of preliminary report and resolution directing preparation of plans, street improvement district number 8425.
This district includes work on 13th Avenue from 6th Street all the way to 10th Street, as well as a portion of 6th Street Northeast between 12th Avenue and 14th Avenue. Those kind of the curvy roads over in the northeast part of the city. Realistically, in that work, there's kind of 2 areas. There's the older area that received water main work in the 1980s and roadway work right after that water main project was completed. And then the area actually on 13th Avenue going north to 7th Street. In the context of time with city infrastructure, it's a relatively new roadway, but it's been a roadway that we've had significant issues with ever since construction. Very high water table in that area, a lot of moving soils. And so we completed a lot of FEMA repairs on that relatively new roadway in the early 2000s. And that roadway needs additional work. So this district will improve the older section, 6th Street and 13th Avenue south of 7th Street, as well as improving 13th Avenue north of 7th Street. I want to make sure I'm in the right district. The preliminary cost estimate for this work is nearly $430,000. Of this amount, about $320,000 is estimated for construction, and about $110,000 estimated for contingencies, admin, legal, and engineering related costs. Again, because it's existing infrastructure, we would cost share. The city would pick up 75% of the tab. We would special assess 25%. And the work in this area is very much needed and overdue, especially on 13th Avenue going north of 7th Street. very much recommend that we proceed with this project. If the commission feels the same way, recommend you approve the preliminary report in order preparations of plans and specs.
I'll make a motion to approve the preliminary engineering report for for street improvement district number 8425.
Motion from Commissioner Kanowski,
Second.
second by Commissioner Hatch. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Pierce?
Aye.
Commissioner Kowski?
Aye.
Commissioner Hash?
Aye.
Commissioner Eulenkamp?
Aye.
President Wong.
Aye, motion carried. Item 5, approval of preliminary report and resolution directing preparation of plans, street improvement district number 8525.
So up to this point, all of the districts that we talked about, when we bid the project, you will see one project that will be bid. It'll be bid through our federal aid system through the Department of Transportation, and that'll be the 14th Avenue and 14th Street project. That's going to be a standalone project because we have federal funds associated with it. The other districts that we talked about, the work that's going on in Lynn, Cherry, Jana, the work going on over at 13th Avenue, 6th Street Northeast, as well as 2nd Street and the miscellaneous roadways, even though they're separate districts, because we want some economy of scale benefits, they will be wrapped into one project, just so the commission's aware of that. We're not bidding out all these individual smaller projects. It costs a lot of money to bring a big mill machine here. It takes a lot of money to have a asphalt contractor set up and bring asphalt. If they have to set up a plant, they want to have a plant and put some mix out with that. So you're going to see separate projects with that. This last project that we're talking about will be a project that'll be improving the downtown alleys. So the paved alleys that are in the downtown district, even some of the alleys just north of City Hall here that are paved, that are on the fringe of the district, that haven't been touched for some time. The paved alleys in the downtown district, we're looking at completing a project that will improve them. And that's the last district that we're talking about. And that will be bid as a project on its own, I believe is the way that we're kind of laying that out. That may allow an opportunity for a smaller contractor that typically does some of our roadway work. This may be a better project and better fit for them. So with that, the preliminary cost estimate for completing this work is $275,000. Of that, about $206,000 is estimated for construction, and just under $70,000 is estimated for contingencies, administrative, legal, and engineering related costs. Again, because it's existing infrastructure, the city cost share policy of the city covering 75%, special assessing 25% will be what we look at. The alley portion of that project will go through the special assessment process. We also are looking at improving a couple of the parking lots with this downtown work, and that'll go through our parking authority and special assess through their the existing parking authority district that exists downtown, similar to what we did with the other parking lots in the downtown district. And so with that, I would recommend, if the commission wants to proceed with this particular project, recommend the city commission approve the preliminary report in order preparation of plans and specifications for that work.
I recommend approval of a resolution approving primary road report for project 250104 and directing preparation of plans, specifications for street improvement district 85-25.
Commissioner Pierce, motion.
Second.
Commissioner Eulenkamp, second. Any further discussion?
I just had a quick question. When was the cost share of this set up? Like, how long ago was it decided 75 and 25? Just for my knowledge.
When we started doing, I would look back specifically, but I would say it's been about 12 to 15 years. Prior to that policy being established.
Was that about the time we were getting some of this money, or we were getting a lot more support from the state?
It was at a time after we knew where we were sitting with our flood protection and our drinking water project.
Okay.
Right. Most of our funds were dedicated to flood protection and drinking water, right? If you had to prioritize something, you had to make sure you were safe from flooding and you had to make sure you had adequate drinking water. But when we were doing that, it really put us behind the 8 ball on other infrastructure. The roadways that should have been milled and overlaid 15 years ago, they weren't getting done. The water mains that should have been replaced prior to that, they weren't getting done. And so right after the drinking water supply project and the last phase of the dike, we implemented the policy. And to your point, Commissioner, when you say, hey, when were they last special assessed? It was very difficult in the past. The previous policy was the city would cover 25% of a water main replacement project and special assess 75. It was very difficult when you were assessing 75% of a project for a water main to replace the water main and then come back and improve the roadway. And now we're able to do the.
I get that. The only reason I'm asking is because I just wanted to make sure that a lot of the grants and stuff that are available through the state that I see a lot on the League of Cities and stuff, it makes sure that they are being tapped to see, if some of the money can come from there too, instead of, assessing our residents so much. I mean, I know the work needs to be done. I'm just wondering if every other avenue is being looked at as well.
We are pursuing that. That's why we secure 60% grant for the water main replacements. Okay. We received 60% grant. We've already, prior to the grant money being available for water main replacements, in the past, the State Water Commission wasn't cost sharing in water main replacements because it was considered maintenance. But we started special assessing at the 75-25 rate, and we are holding true to that because a lot of those projects are relatively recent. The 60% grant funding that's coming through water main replacement is now being freed up, so to speak, to help with doing some more roadways. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to tackle the roadways that we're looking at now without that money. And
I just
so we're
wanted to
pretty
let them know
fortunate.
so people can know that that's actually being done. So.
And with the gap, we had a large gap. So talking about infrastructure, in 2004, we did a water main replacement project, and we were under the old cost share policy, where we special assessed 75% of the work. The city paid 25%. That equated to some very large assessments. But there was a gap, right? So we didn't complete any more water main replacements from 2004 until 2011. So there was a little bit of gap there. And then we started implementing that policy. You have to start somewhere with a change. I can tell you that the people that were special assessed at the other rate in 2004, they wanted a little bit of that money to come back to them because they paid the higher rate. That's when the city implemented the policy, and then we've been moving forward like that. And we've had projects every year since then.
Thank you.
Mike, I do have a question. Maybe you can clarify. Because I don't know. But so if I was special assessed, when we get a special assessed here at 75-25 rate, what would I be assessed if I lived in a different town? So that people would compare apples to apples, you know what I mean? So are we really good here? Is that something that's common for all of us? Like if I lived in Grand Forks, for example, is that the same thing if I was a homeowner there? Do I get assessed the same? Is that how it works? Or?
No, every city is able to develop their own policy for special assessment. You just have to go through the larger communities. If you're over 10,000 people, you have to have a written policy on how you're going to special assess and go through that process. Since we're under 10,000, we don't have that written policy as far as the method of the special assessment. Some cities absorb that special assessment through their user fee. You charge more for the water. You can call it a special, it's not a special assessment, but you're paying, right? One way or the other, you're paying. So there's different cities do it differently. Different cities cost share differently. Based on the conversations that I've had, a 75% cost share for a mill and overlay project and water main replacement are very good. We're pretty fortunate. We're very fortunate with the sales tax funds.
We're probably the only ones doing it that way. I don't know.
Yeah, some are
We are
using
probably-
user fees to help
but-
with water main replacement, not so much with street improvements. And we're doing it for both. But we at the pollution control conference, we had a conversation. The city engineers, public works directors, we get together and talk about problems and what's going on in different cities. And there was a lengthy discussion on what's happening with special assessments.
Okay, any further discussion? If not, roll call.
Commissioner Pierce?
Aye.
Commissioner Kamowski?
Aye.
Commissioner Hash?
Aye.
Commissioner Ulicap?
Aye.
President Moe?
Aye, motion carried.
Thanks for the explanation. Appreciate it.
Just
Okay.
to put it in context, if you look back to the old water main replacements, we're doing roadways and water main replacements today and giving out smaller special assessments than what we were doing nearly over 25 years ago. You know, we were able to do the water main and the roadway for about the same cost as what we were just doing water mains as far as special assessment 25 years ago. And we all know how costs have
I agree with
escalated.
you. I know folks are just gonna hear special assessment and they're gonna be like, more money.
Yeah.
But that's the only reason
But
I'm
they're getting-
trying to get out why we do it
Yeah.
the way we do it.
This is a pretty good break for them to have this project done.
And that's the whole reason, Commissioner, for breaking the districts out
Absolutely.
to allow an area, because we
Yep.
don't want to do a project that residents don't want.
Yep.
They all want the smooth roadway, but if they don't want to pay for it, it allows them the opportunity to protest the street improvement district now,
I
and
agree.
not complete.
Okay,
Thank you.
item 6, Devils Lake Regional Airport Grant Closeout Budget Adjustment and City Airport Cost Share. Spencer will give us a breakdown of that.
All right, Mayor, members of the commission, just want to put this before you. This is kind of one of those last things, with all the staffing turnover experience over the last 2.5, 3 years, new airport manager, finance team. Just want to clear up some of the airport's books here as we end fiscal year 2024. So just as a high level, the airport has a lot of grants that they get and money that passes through the city's bank account. And as you can see, I have about 4 of them listed here. Normally what would happen is the airport would get some grant funding and there'd be a 10% local match that the city would need to help fund. Airport would come to the city and the city through its infrastructure fund would usually pay for that 10% cost share. At the end of the grant, if there was still a little bit of money left over after the project, the city would then transfer that money back into its infrastructure fund. So if you look at the staff report, I have about 4 of them listed. So specifically, just to close out some grants, Fund 9035 and then 9038, staff's recommending that we transfer those from the airport grant funds back into the city's infrastructure fund, and I'll show you the final tabulation once this is all done. Grant 9037 was for some snow removal equipment out at the airport, and so it's recommended that we transfer that over to the airport's equipment reserve. And then the big one, the minus 233,000. Any questions so far? Just interrupt me. I wasn't here for this story, so I'm communicating a lot of hearsay here. So Mayor, Commissioner Hash,
This goes way back and,
if I screw this up, just interject, okay? So there was a big runway expansion project the airport did. As part of that, they had to do some land acquisition. They had to do some significant land acquisitions. There was a land acquisition deal that didn't go very well. I think it was Coons property. At the end of the whole deal, it ended up in mediation, and the city was left with a minus $533,000 negative cash balance in the airport's fund, or grant fund. And the FAA doesn't recognize the results of mediation. So we were all kind of stuck with it. So that was in about 2014. In 2019, the airport received $150,000 grant, and the city matched that $150,000, and they transferred $300,000 to buy down the minus $533,000 cash reserve or cash balance there. And so, since I've been here, the airport's had this minus $233,000 cash balance. And Mayor, Commissioner Hash, we've gone back and forth. The airport had kind of said, "Hey, let's clean up the books," and I had suggested, well, it seemed like it was an airport issue, right? So they have a $1.4 million operations balance, and it seems like they used to never have resources, and hey, should we just transfer and cover it out? The airport members had said that they were under the impression that the city was going to end up fixing the negative cash balance and covering it and transferring it to eliminate the balance. And we we've gone back and forth for about 4 months between the airport and the city on how we're going to fix this. And, really under the mayor and Commissioner Ash's leadership, we just want to try to find a resolution that's acceptable. And so propose the airport administratively, and then with the mayor and Commissioner Hash, that we would match the airport dollar for dollar from our infrastructure fund and their operations fund to eliminate the cash balance, with the mindset that the city and the airport, they were in the mess together, and we'll solve it together. And if you look back on minutes, and I've tried to, I did research minutes. I read almost every set of meeting minutes we had for a decade back there in the vault to try and find something. And, we had negotiating committees and all that sort of stuff that involved the mayor and city commissioners and some airport authority board members. And so really the recommendation is to eliminate the cash balance dollar for dollar with the airport and clean up their books.
And they also have a new manager coming on board, and it would be nice to have a clear, fresh start for the new guy to come on board. So that it's really not a win for anybody, but it's there, and we have to clean it up. And
Something that's been sitting there
it's
for a
been
long
sitting
time.
there for a long time, and it needs to be dealt with.
And I want to make clear, the city's going to have the same amount of money in its bank account as it does today, as it will tomorrow, right after this. It's just how it's, communicated on our books, and where it's going to come from, whether it's the airport side or the city side, and the airport's money is with our money. And so,
And we're
that's
still
a
going
different
to continue to help give them the monies in the future to support the grants that they get. It's one of those that's basically it's a city.
It's a city.
City issue.
Yep.
And if they get a $500,000 grant and it only costs $10,000 from the city, it's a no-brainer. You want to do the work. So, but they don't have any funding source to pay it, so it ultimately comes off the city.
and
Correct me
like I
if I'm
said,
wrong.
we've been talking about this for 4 months going back. Our initial thoughts were, it was an airport thing, and it's like I said, the city and the airport, they were in the mess together, and we're in the solutions business, not the problem business. And I'm just trying to offer a solution between both parties, despite what I may personally think should be done. Right? It's about getting something done. And that's
None
what
of
we're
us
about
were
here.
around when all this was taking place,
Right.
except I sat on the sidelines when all this was taking place. So, and to get a new manager and get them a fresh start is the fairest thing to do. And to do that,
And I would
with
add,
the compromises made between, Spencer and Rob and I with the airport board to say, hey, this is the best we can do. And basically it was just kind of what we would have been paying anyhow.
So, we did take this to the airport authority board at their meeting on last Monday, excuse me, and they were acceptable to the terms. So, because these were not budgeted for this year, we're requesting your approval of the adjustments and the cost share of 9029.
Oh, how much did you say? 93?
Sorry, Mark.
No, she said the cost share of grant 90.
Oh,
So
90.
yeah, if you can see the final
Yeah, right.
tabulation, right, between our
Yeah.
116,764 and then the positive money that the city would be, the city's
We're
infrastructure fund
obligated
would go back
93.
93,000
And the airport's obligating 113.
13, yeah.
down to 13, yeah. Between everything.
That clears it up, everything up, clean slate, start over.
So our first $93,000. Well, I'll make a motion to approve that funding of $93,969.77 to the airport authority.
Commissioner Kanowski,
I'll second.
Commissioner Eulenkamp. Any further discussion?
Let's try not to do this to our our future leaders that come in here, so they don't have to deal with something like this.
Yeah, have everything clear. Yep, I agree. And then that's the whole problem with it is because try to research everything to find out how it all transpired. Okay, any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Pierce,
Aye.
Commissioner Kanowski,
Aye.
Commissioner Hash,
Aye.
Commissioner Eulenkamp,
Aye.
President Mo.
All right, motion carries. Okay, citizen comment, nothing. Informational items, we have the November 2024 financial report available to look at. And if there's nothing else to come before the commission, a motion to pay the bills as submitted.
Motion to pay the bills as submitted.
Commissioner Pierce, second. By Commissioner Eulenkamp.
She'll fight you for it.
Okay, any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Pierce.
Aye.
Commissioner Kanowski.
Aye.
Commissioner Hash.
Aye.
Commissioner Eulenkamp.
Aye.
President Hall.
Aye, motion carried. Any other business to come before the commission? If not, meeting adjourned.